All right, so today's video is going to walk you through investigation 1.2, part A, with some important vocabulary, because they include some important vocabulary at the beginning of this investigation in your book. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to go ahead and just have these definitions on hand. Okay, so the first one is called a parabola. Don't call it a parabola, it's a parabola. Okay, so the definition of a parabola is the graph, and I've learned to use the text box instead of attempting to write it with my chicken scratch. So it's the graph of a quadratic function. Okay, and it's categorized by its U-shaped function, by its U-shaped look. Okay, and something that we're going to learn how to find and how to estimate is that a parabola has a line of symmetry, okay, that passes through a maximum or minimum point. All right. Okay. All right, so an example would be, again, what we kind of saw with our Desmos graph, is that U shape, right? And ours was a U pointing down, but it also can look like a U pointing up. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we kind of talked about is quadratic functions. You might have noticed that our new unit is about quadratics. So again, a quadratic is categorized by, again, its U-shape, curve, or its parabola, right? All quadratics have a parabola. And it contains, again, a min or a max point, okay? And later on, we'll add to this that quadratic functions have set expressions. Set expression, okay, of, really, this is A, and I'm going to do, so this is A squared, right? So it's AX squared plus BX plus, no, we wanted BX, not by. Autocorrect, stay out of this. Plus C, right? So it's a set expression of Y is equal to AX plus B squared. All right, and so again, that quadratic is going to have that U-shaped curve. It's going to have a min or a max, right? And our example of a quadratic was rectangles with a fixed perimeter. Okay, and then these next two vocabulary terms are review, but it's just, again, a good thing to remember. So we have dependent and independent variable. So independent variable, right, we know, our dependent is first. I always like to think independence first, right? So for dependent, it says it in the name. I always like to think about dependent depends. And so I'm actually going to underline depends, right? So it very heavily, it depends upon another variable, right? Or is determined by the independent. Okay, and it's usually the y value. Okay, it's usually the y value. All right, so an example of this would be distance would be dependent on the time you spent in the car. Okay, we also know dependent can be the amount of money, the amount of people. In our example yesterday, our dependent was our area, right? Our area depends on our length and width. Okay, and then the last vocab term is independent, right? I like to again think about it. It's independent. It stands alone. It doesn't need anyone, right? It's its own person. So its value really determines the value of another, or in this case, our dependent. Right, and again, it's usually our x value. Okay, and so again, an example of what we just used, time, right, determines the distance you went. Okay. Yep. And so, lovely enough, this is not locking. Okay. So let's see if I can zoom this in. Nope. Okay. All right. So then, if we zoom a little out, right, you can read below about the different functions. So I'm sorry that all our definitions aren't sticking like they usually do. Right? But we studied these other functions earlier in the year, right? We worked on linear, and then we finished up exponential. All right? So now we're going to, of course, look at what quadratic functions are and all the different properties that come along with quadratic functions. All right? So we're going to flip over to the next. Oh no. Page. Right? And we're just going to investigate by using the table above. Right? So again, we're working with rectangles with a fixed perimeter. We're going to be dealing with other scenarios, but for right now, it really is a nice setup that's easy to comprehend. Right? So again, using the graph above, right? So we're going to answer part A. So again, what is the greatest area for a rectangle with this perimeter? So make sure you list the dimensions of this rectangle, right? So if we look at it, what's the greatest possible area? Well, let's look at what is the highest value it goes on my y-axis. Well, we notice the greatest area is 400 meters squared, right? So that means, well, how can I figure out its dimensions? Well, looking at the point below, it gives us its length. So we know the length is 20. And so that would, of course, mean the width is also 20. And I'm sure you're probably realizing now that the rectangles that are going to give us the greatest amount of area, right, are always going to be closest to squares. We're going to be squares. Really, so squares give us the greatest amount of area. Okay, so looking at B, we want to know what is the area of the rectangle whose length is 10 meters. Well, again, I'm going to use my graph. If it's 10 meters, we know it's 300 meters squared. Okay. And then the next one, the area of the rectangle whose length is 30 meters. Well, hopefully you might have guessed it. Well, if I look at, again, my graph, right, it's also 300 meters squared. Okay, so now that actually brings me to question D. Okay, so how are the rectangles in question B and C related? Well, if we noticed, right, the length of one rectangle is equal to the width of the other. Right? Because if the length is 10 here, then the width needs to be 30 if our area is 300. Then for C, our length is equal to 30, which, sorry, that keeps doing that. The width needs to be 10. Right? And we notice that again, our values start to repeat a little bit. Right? And we saw this, right? It goes up, and then we decrease, and we see those values repeat again, right? We see an area of 300 repeat. We see an area of close to 200 repeat, right? And we see that continuing on, okay? And so the last one is, how can I figure out the fixed perimeter for the rectangles? Okay, well, we can use, well, if we think about it, we can use our work from A, B, or C. So I'm actually just going to use C because it's the closest. Well, if I know that the length is 30 of one rectangle and the width is 10, well, I know perimeter is equal to 2 times length plus width. So we know that the set perimeter would be equal to 80 meters. Okay? And that's how I'd be able to show my work. All right? So this was just the run through for 1.2 part A. Tomorrow you're going to look at part B and C. So make sure that you have all of these notes and you listen to this walkthrough video in order to do tomorrow's activity.